This episode of Night Gallery has led critics down a garden path for years. Some people love it, some people completely hate it. Now, David Jewell, the great blogster on the Night Gallery series, didn't like it, but for me, it's a 3-star out of 4 episodes because any Night Gallery episode you can have 3 vampires and still work is great to me. Now, according to Jewell, it's essentially a Night Gallery comic blackout sketch expanded to 15 minutes. I think it could have went half an hour. It's called The Funeral. It was written by, of all people, Richard Matheson. Directed by John Meredith Lucas with Joe Flynn as Morton Silkline, Werner Klemperer of Hogan's Heroes fame as Ludwig Asper, the main vampire, Harvey Jason as Morrow, Charles McCauley as the Count, Jack Laird, the showrunner, as Igor, Lara Lacey as Jenny of Boston, Leonidas D. Ossentinsky as the second male vampire, Diane Hale as the female vampire, and Jerry Summers as Bruce. Now, in this one, Morton, played by Joe Flynn, funny and understated, mild-mannered ways, sort of a poor man's Bob Newhart, runs a funeral home and is paid a visit by the distinguished Asper. Werner Klemperer, of course, Colonel Klink from the Hogan's Heroes, with a beard, and of course, real life, a big promoter of the arts, including opera. According to Asper, he wishes to arrange the most lavish, spare no expense funeral, including a casket lined with gold rather than silk that Silkline can provide. Happy to arrange what should be a very profitable funeral, Silkline begins to take down some notes, with the first question being the name of the deceased. Asper replies, and we can already tell where this is going. Silkline asks if it's a relative, and Asper replies with a smile, "Me. I never had a proper going off. I've always regretted that." This one drew me in right away because it's played for a high camp. Now, Silkline is angry at what he assumes to be a joke, but Asper assures him that he is serious by showing his teeth. He wants the event to occur in a matter of days and expects that all will be perfect. He requests that a mirror be removed from the foyer, and where he says it's very dramatic. Okay, so now we have a vampire who will attend, and according to Jewell, I find myself wishing I'd been counting how many times vampires are made their way into Night Gallery stories. But here it works, because Klemperer is a tremendous non-comedic actor. Now, Asper takes his leave, and he does so, changes to a bat, and flies out in an open window. For Jewell, it doesn't work, but for me, it works perfectly. Now, Asper returns on the night of his funeral and surveys the room where the event will be held approvingly. Then the guests arrive, and the would-be humor begins. According to Jewell, it's not humorous, but for me, it works. It sends the segment spiraling down the drain, but for me, it starts to rise. A weird, funny vampire in which Igor, series producer Jack Laird, another one of his cameos, a werewolf, a Peter Lorre-esque guy, Lieutenant Peter Lorre, long-failed comedy segment short, the guests go berserk, destroy the room, and Silkline faints. But for me, it really works, because when they start doing the eulogy, this is where the shit occurs, because one of the characters says it's taking too long, and that's where the problem starts. Next, we see Silkline some days later, recovered. He receives a package from Asper with a thank you card, apologizing for his guest's misbehavior, and a suitcase stuffed with cash, bringing a smile to Silkline's face. Then a weird, futuristic creature appears at the funeral home, throwing off noxious smoke, requesting service, saying he's been recommended by a friend. Silkline is amenable to another such funeral. After all, cash is king. According to Jewell, again, the humor displays, as it normally does in shorter sketches, fails flat. Incredibly, the mess was not written by Laird, but by the great science fiction author Richard Matheson. We all have our bad days, I guess, according to Jewell. But to me, this could have been stretched out to a full half hour, because I wanted to know more of why Klemperer's vampire was a vampire. I wanted to know more why so many tropes can work together. Now, it comes across like a comedic version of a House of Mystery or a ghost comic book comedy story from the great DC horror comics era of the 60s and 70s. But you see, it's all a matter of opinion. If you love the Universal monster genre, and you love, Karloff and Peter Lorre and Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney Sr. and Jr., it works, because this is an homage. And to have them all together is sort of like an all-star team of what can go wrong, where creatures of the night get together and party, because maybe the reason he had to have a good send-off, because maybe the same thing happened at the previous funeral. And why would these people show up? Are they showing up to celebrate Klemper's character, or basically to make fun of him and to cause craziness. But it's left open-ended. But if Richard Matheson wrote that, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt, because Richard could write. Holy freak. And we do miss him. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our Night Gallery podcast, let us know. Like, comment, or subscribe. And you see what us critics on the Night Gallery, some of us agree. Scott Skelton has his view. David Jewell has his view. I have my view. And all three of us could look at the same episode and see something different, or see something that fills our needs as a viewer, and sometimes it doesn't. But Jewell didn't like it, but I really liked it. 3 out of 4. Thanks for listening. Bye.